You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 58. I'm your host, Victoria Wellsby, and today we're talking about how the left has a big fat phobia problem. Let's do it!
Perfect!
I'm Victoria Wellsby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident, fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty Podcast. Let's begin.
Hello, fatty. Welcome to this podcast. So pleased that you're here. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I was thinking about you last night. Yeah, I'm thinking about you. Yes, you. I was having a dream and I was like, there they are in my dream. I was actually thinking last night about this podcast episode that I am going to do right now. I kept waking up in the night and I was like, do you know what? I need to just do a podcast episode about this because it's getting on my tits. It is really getting on my tits and I feel frustrated. And yesterday I felt really mad and I was just like, why are people like this? Look, no, stop it. So I don't know if I've told you before, but I'm sure I've mentioned this, but in the last little while, in the online business space, I don't know if you know, but in the online business space, in self-help, in any type of, if you want to learn about something, self-help, every industry there is, like if you're reading a book and you want to improve your life in any way whatsoever, chances are there's going to be weight loss mentioned or dieting or how fat people are bad. It's really annoying. It's really fucking annoying. Like I'm reading a book about fucking finances and ways to like how to allocate money in your business, and then they have to use a fucking dieting reference to dieting. I'm like, why? It's got nothing to do with anything. Anyway, and so this is something that kind of had to frustratingly accept that if I want to continue to learn about having a business and running a successful business, that I will have to consume content from people who don't get it. You know, they're in diet culture, they're fat phobic, blah, blah, blah. They're an average citizen of the world, right? Anyway, so one of my coaches, previously, I had bought a coaching program from someone called James Wedmore. I don't know if I've mentioned him on the podcast before, but I don't know if I've mentioned him and said this is who I did coaching through previously. So this is a couple of few years ago, and I'd spent maybe in Canadian like $3,500 on his program. I think it's about that in Canadian, and his social media is very, like, he attracts a lot of women. He has, you know, I normally wouldn't buy from people who are like cis white men, but he would attract a lot of women because his message was less like hustle, and, you know, you need to work loads and, you know, this type of stuff that you get from a lot of online entrepreneurs. Anyway, so did his program, and actually I did his program. I got introduced to his program by this fabulous fat gay entrepreneur called Tyler J. McCall. He previously taught Instagram strategies. Now he's teaching like all about online business stuff, and he has something called Online Business Association. He's great. So I knew Tyler, and then Tyler had done previously Business by Design. Now, Tyler, this is like storytelling. This is storytelling podcast. Tyler was one of the biggest affiliates for James Wedmore. He has, in his few years of working alongside him, he took his program and then he became an affiliate, has made him millions of dollars. Now, Tyler, I really trust him, really trust his judgment, and he recently came out and said, hey, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've stopped being an affiliate for James Wedmore. And it was like, in the online business world, this is scandalous. Why? Tyler did a great IGTV Instagram story about it. Basically revealed that James Wedmore has gone from being a pretty level-headed, average kind of human being, you know, not great, not super progressive, but, you know, when Black Lives Matter came out, he put out, you know, when Black Lives Matter was a big thing in the summer, he put up a picture of a book on his Instagram, so he acknowledged that racism exists. But anyway, so now since then, it's been revealed that James Wedmore is a Trump supporter. He's a raging conservative. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's all into QAnon. He's a QAnoner. If you don't know what that is, basically, there's these... Google it. Like, you'll be like, what? If you know anything like Pizzagate, child trafficking sex rings from... There's like a furniture store in the States that apparently is trafficking children and selling them in wardrobes. This is not true, by the way. This is all conspiracy, you know, theories and absolutely unfounded, not based in reality. Oprah and Tom Hanks are the leaders of this, drinking children's blood for youth or something. It's wild. And anyway, there's a website, I think it's called 8chan. I know there was a 4chan, but apparently I thought someone was saying 8chan as a joke, but I think 8chan is a thing where someone, this Q person, posts these secrets. And everyone thinks this Q person, not everyone, the people who are, you know, conspiracy theorists, thinks this Q person is revealing secrets that the government doesn't want you to know. That these things, which are actually are... You know, they sound wacky and silly, but they're really, they're based in a lot of anti-Semitism, racism, homophobia, and they come across as like, of course we don't want to do, you know, engage in child sex trafficking. And so people are like, people can get sucked in being like, save the children. But really, no, it's really, really harmful stuff. Anyway, so it's been discovered that this person who so many, you know, many people look up to, James Wedmore, him and other people who we presumed were liberal are not. Now, Tyler J. McCall, the fabulous fat gay man who introduced me to James Wedmore, he shared something that was really interesting. So he's on the inside with all of this stuff. But anyway, something to find out if someone that you are not sure what their political leaning is go on to their Instagram or their Twitter. On their Instagram, look at who they're following and look for accounts like Breitbart. So Breitbart is this right-wing news, quote-unquote, news organisation, absolutely horrifying, racist bullshit. So see if they're following something like Breitbart or any of the Trumps or anything. Like, look at profiles that have an American flag, like, in their name, and then you can go into the profile and it'll be like, I hate Jews, or something like that. And you're like, okay, yeah, this person's a racist. James Wedmore is following a ton of those accounts. Not that's not the evidence to prove that he is a conspiracy theorist, right-wing, Trump-supporting weirdo. There's other stuff too, but if you're just curious about people that you're like, should I give this person money? I don't know. Go and check who they're following. And also on Twitter, a lot of people don't know this, but if you go and look and see what tweets people have liked, it is very, very illuminating. And so if you think, oh yeah, I'm going to, however way you're going to spend money, like if you're going to spend money on, I don't know, going grocery shopping, chances are, you know, Sainsbury's or Superstore or whatever is not, you know, liking the tweets of, you know, white supremacists. That's probably not going to happen. But if it's like an individual business owner or someone who has a personality behind the brand, seeing what they're about. Anyway, and so this is kind of like people who you thought were liberal revealing their true colours. That's just like one thing. But anyway, so Tyler started this this new Facebook group just to get together all of the online business owners who are progressive, who don't want to be racist, who believe in science over conspiracy theories, who want to do better and want to be in business in an ethical way, right? So Tyler started this Facebook group. Great. Honestly, fucking, to be in a business space and know that you're around fellow progressive people is revolutionary. Business spaces are not safe. They're not safe for people who are fat positive, who are anti-diet, people who are recovering from eating disorders, people who are trying to not hate their bodies. They're really not safe, it's just really weird, because this is, you know, it's business spaces. Why does business have to be so about diet and how much people hate fat people? But it is, strangely so annoying. And so now I've had, who knows how long I've had my business, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 2 years, well, who the fuck, whatever. So for all of those years, it's not 2 years by the way, for all of those years I have had to really work to protect my mental health. Online business spaces that you know, talking about fucking diets, and I've got a business about like weight loss, and you know, yeah, everyone should lose weight, and oh, fat people are disgusting, and oh, don't you just love it how fat people just eat all the food? And because you know what it is, a lot of people in the online business world are big into manifesting their dream business, like positive thinking. I love that. That's great. Whatever. Any way that you believe, like if you're religious and you're not hurting other people, whatever. I know manifesting isn't a religion; it's more spirituality. But anyway, whatever you do, as long as you're not hurting other people, that's fine. But a big part of these beliefs around manifestation and saying, you know, if you really work hard and if you really believe in yourself, then you're going to have a successful business, is denying the fact that white privilege exists, and that some people just can't, you know, leave their job and start a business because they have to work and they've got bills to pay and they can't live in their mum's basement and things like that. So it's a big not understanding about privilege, and also they view weight as like a manifestation of bad things in your life. And so if you're fat, it's a physical manifestation about how you're bad, holding on to bad things, you know, bad things have happened or whatever, and not science, you know, not science. Anyway, so I'm in this progressive Facebook group, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. People are like, how can we be better? How can we do better? And oh, like we're so fed up of businesses that are bigoted and exploiting people and not being ethical and stuff. And anyway, so this one person posts in the group, and this person posts in the group, and I won't name names, but this person posts a group, and she says, "What are you guys doing to discuss your commitment to diversity? I did a video to communicate ours during the BLM protests," and then links to her website where she has a video about her diversity commitment. And I thought, interesting. I'm going to click on that. That's pretty cool. Clicked on the video, and before I started watching it, I noticed the name of her website, and it was alluding to weight loss. And I thought, something doesn't add up here. This person is claiming to be progressive, claiming to support Black Lives Matter, yet maybe they're selling diets? I don't know. So I looked through this person's website, and I was like, oh, interesting. I need to tell you lot about this, because it was so like cloak and dagger, so confusing, so gaslighting, that I was like, is she selling weight loss? And then I got some key things, and I was like, oh yeah, she is. She's selling weight loss. But the way that it was all written was totally hiding that fact. I'm going to share it with you in a minute. But anyway, so I left a comment and I said, hi, just an FYI, intentional weight loss is rooted in anti-Black racism, as well as tons of other harmful systems. And so you may want to look into that, because we're in a group for people who are learning to be even more progressive in their businesses. And I really, for a moment, I didn't want to put this comment. I was like, nah, just leave it, Victoria, just leave it. And I normally would, like in every single time in any business space, I see fatphobia and diet culture bullshit. I have to leave it, because I know that if I left a comment and did any type of activism, people would just be like, you know, pile on, because they're so committed to these beliefs, which are harmful. But because this is a space where we're learning and we're trying to become more progressive, I thought, do you know what? No, you're doing good for activism work by gently saying, by the way, in case you didn't know, intentional weight loss, diet culture, fatphobia is racist, based in racism. And so her response was, I don't focus on weight loss in any of my programs. That's often the result, but never the intent. I also make an effort to not use it in any of my marketing. Once you get into any of my programs, I also discuss that weight loss isn't the goal. Also, heart disease, diabetes, and most other health issues are scientifically linked to, and then she uses the O word, which rhymes with bobibibi, shmobishmbi, which disproportionately impacts POC, people of colour. So I wrote, by the way, the O words are slurs, and she put in quotation marks or asterisks out, for example, and I told her how to write the O words. Reading your marketing, the goal of weight loss is definitely mentioned, and so exploring how that is harmful is really important. I hope this is helpful, as I'm sure you don't want to cause harm to marginalised communities. Her response was, I didn't come here to argue the importance or lack of importance of health and wellness. I'm sure you're super well intentioned, as am I. I also bet that if we spoke, we'd probably have a lot more in common in our approach. But quite honestly, your approach with me doesn't actually make me want to have a conversation with you, and makes me want to leave the group altogether. Please take this feedback with the same love I'm sure was behind yours to me. So that was her comment. I just thought, this person is a donkey. I don't want to respond. And then a straight-sized person came and responded to this person, weight and health are different, and conflating the two is part of the problem Victoria was trying to speak to. Her comments were perfectly polite and well-intentioned, and I would examine why a well-intentioned call-in has you reacting in fragility and focusing on intent over impact. And I just responded to that person saying, thanks so much for speaking up, sending fatty hugs to you. Because I just felt her response, it just really left me like disappointed and feeling like drained. Like I wanted to just put a comment on here saying, please, straight size allies, come and educate this person, because there's so much going on with what she's saying that is problematic, and her website has weight loss all over it, her social media, because I was like, was I wrong? Like, did I not read that stuff? Question mark. And looked at her social media and I was like, no, she's, yep, definitely talking about weight loss and marketing weight loss. Like, what? Yeah, so I just thought I didn't have the capacity to engage with this person further and continue on with this fat activism. And I'm really pleased that this straight-sized person came in and said, hey, listen up here, motherfucker. So what I'm thinking about doing is saying, hey, maybe I should do a training in the group about how racism and fatphobia are deeply intertwined, and how it's problematic, and how if we want to be anti-racist, we have to be anti-diet, and we have to be pro-fatty and fat positive. And I think a lot of people, even though they identify as being progressive, are not on that train yet. They're not on that train yet. I made a post on the Instagrams in September, and I just want to read it to you. The post reads, "The rampant fat phobia in liberal spaces needs to stop." And the description in the thingamajig reads, in the caption reads, "Following on from my previous post where the quote says fatphobia is not the last socially acceptable form of discrimination." Go read that post if that's interesting to you. I'll link to this post in the show notes. I wanted to highlight why for many fat people it feels like it is the last socially acceptable form of discrimination if they congregate in certain liberal spaces. And so a lot of people do feel like fatphobia is the last socially acceptable form of discrimination if they're liberal. And if they're in liberal spaces, a lot of liberal people will say racism, sexism, Islamophobia, transphobia, any type of bigotry is bad. But LOL, fat people, whoa, it's greedy and horrible. And that happens so much in liberal spaces. But the reality is the rest of the world are like, yeah, fucking, we hate everyone. Everyone should die apart from white men. Woo! Obviously not, well, I would say obviously not that extreme, but yes, that extreme in some places. But, and so the reality, it feels like for a lot of liberal people that fatphobia is the last socially acceptable form of discrimination, but in the grand scheme of the world, it's not. There's lots of socially acceptable forms of discrimination, but in liberal spaces, it's a little bit different. So I continue. In many liberal spaces, discrimination is a big no-no. People work to be anti-racist, anti-sexist. They pride themselves on being forward-thinking and inclusive. That is until it comes to fat bodies. Many liberal spaces espouse the benefits, quote-unquote, of diets cloaked under terms like, quote-unquote, health and wellness. Many liberal spaces still presume that fat bodies are unhealthier than thin bodies. Many liberal spaces only share images of people in smaller bodies because a fat body could hurt their brand. Many liberal spaces say that it's not about how you look, but how healthy you are. This tomfuckery needs to stop. Fatphobia is a social justice issue. You cannot claim to be a feminist and be liberal or forward thinking if your compassion stops at people over a certain weight. I don't know if this is a term yet, but maybe it should be. Fat exclusionary radical feminist. FERF. Yeah, so this is where I get mad. I get mad about this stuff because it is so difficult for people who have not done the work and who are not eagle-fucking-eyed to know when they are being deceived with this stuff. So I want to share this website. I want to share some of the copy from this website, and so you can see how difficult it would be if you happen to go onto this website for you to decipher whether this was something that was going to be causing you deep harm, which is what intentional weight loss does, or not. Okay, so I'm on the website. I'm not going to tell you the name of this person or the website because, I don't know. I don't want to get sued. I don't know if reading someone's website copy would get me sued, but, whatever. So the website kind of alludes to weight loss, but not really. You would very easily able to be like, oh, that's not what that means. I won't tell you the name, but here is some copy, okay? So there are 3 big problems with the weight loss industry, and they're keeping you frustrated and stuck. Number 1, every guru gives the same advice. Do more to weigh less. You read the books, tried the diets, fasted and detoxed. Remember the time you did a juice cleanse and you couldn't stop pooping for a week? The problem is that it didn't work. If doing more was the solution, you wouldn't hate the way you look in a mirror. The real solution has to be something else. Okay, so that's a little bit of a copy from the website. I'm like, yes, the real solution has to be something else. Kicking diets into the sun, yeeting them into the sun, as the children would say, as the kids would say. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. She's an anti-diet body acceptance coach. It continues. Number 2, do more to weigh less works, just not for you. It works for weight loss companies that made $72 billion last year. It works for authors that sold 5 million diet books last year. It works for the gym owners that know 82% of their members will never show up. The problem is that they get paid if you stay stuck. Let that sink in, babe. These companies need you on that yo-yo hamster wheel. If that's the case, why would they ever give you a long-term solution? So I'm like, yes, you're right. Weight loss companies are scamming people. Okay, number 3. You're an easy target. Many advertisers that understand online ads sell snake oil solutions. 5 billion in online programs were sold last year. How much of that was your money? The problem is you keep spending buku bucks on fads, programs, and potions that overpromise and deliver or simply don't work. Yes, right? Okay, so yes, so you're reading this as someone who's trying to love their body. You're reading this and you're saying, yes, this person gets me. So continue. Can you relate to one of these scenarios? 1, you've tried all the things and you still hate the way you look in the mirror. Or you've tried nothing. You don't have time, or you don't know where to start. Let's put an end to the do more to weigh less lie, shall we? And then it continues. Oh, snap. Yes, there is a way to feel great without starving. Yes, there is a way to find joy in moving your body. Yes, there is a way to lose weight without stepping on the scale. And then the button to join this program says, yes, I'm ready to break up with the scale. So I'm like, if you didn't get that one sentence, yes, there is a way to lose weight without stepping on the scale, you would be forgiven for thinking that this was a body love program, not a you need to lose weight, you piece of shit. this is not what they're saying, but and so it continues. You're not broken. You just have a blind spot. When you see it, your life will change. You have to be more to lose more. Identity work is the solution the weight loss industry doesn't want you to know. So what they're saying here, identity work is, you know, that whole manifesting your body, powerful thinking, you know, positive thinking, positively think your way to a thin body. And it continues, how come the quote-unquote gurus aren't telling you this? Remember the problem number 2? They get paid when you stay stuck. You thought the more that you did, the less you'd weigh. I get why, and it's not your fault. All the gurus are screaming that advice from the rooftop because it's making them rich. And then it continues. This is the bit that gets on my dangly tits. Continues. Want to know a secret? I used to be part of the problem. And she says how I had one of the most successful Pilates chains in the city. I told clients to diet, and she says they'd be doing great, having a successful day at work, and then when faced with a healthy choice to make, they'd say, in quotes, F it. Next thing you know, they'd black. I think she means they'd black out. It was a complete feeding frenzy. They'd wake up with an empty pint of Ben and Jerry's, a slice of pizza left in the box, and chocolate stains on their face. You know what came next? The guilties. I fucking hate that. The guilties. Ugh. They'd say, my diet starts tomorrow, and get back on that yo-yo hamster wheel. Looking back, I can see the role I played. I preached the same bullshit advice, do more to weigh less. I hadn't discovered the importance of identity. Once I did, it transformed the way I coached, and it transformed the way they lived. And then she goes on to talk about her weight loss journey, how she was a fat fucking piece of shit, aka she was a straight-sized person, and she wanted to get into the wedding dress, and that's when magic happened. She lost weight and she got into a wedding dress, and her husband loved her, and now her life is amazing, and she wants to share that with you. Okay, so people who think that they're forward thinking, that they're uber progressive, who still sell weight loss, are mistaken with their impact. Okay, they think, this person says, I used to be a part of the problem. She started to realise the diets don't work. She saw it in her clients. And instead of continuing down that route of inquiry and being curious and looking at science, she instead went a different route and was like, it's all about manifestation. Just think about being thin and you'll be thin and healthy, or whatever it is. Like, obviously I don't know what she's teaching in the programs, but you know, she's talking about identity. So that's, you know, alluding to that, right? And so I'm just like, I just wish she just could. I don't know why, but it just didn't happen, right? And she is still the problem. And in my eyes, it's worse. It's worse than a company who's like, yeah, we help you lose weight. Well, that's what we say because, you know, diets don't work. Yeah, we're going to stop, you know, being fat is bad. You need to be healthy. You know, you need to get a six-pack. I have more respect for those types of companies than for this type of stuff, because it is really targeting people who are searching for something different, who know that dieting doesn't work, and they think that this other diet, this mindset diet or whatever it is the solution. Like, shit, if this person has discovered the solution, this one person, she's discovered the solution. She has got the 1 in a $1 billion idea that actually works. She needs to be going to all the fucking universities and to do studies and get this peer reviewed and get it out there, because she will be a billionaire. She's found the way that you can lose weight and keep it off. Oh my God. Like, isn't that incredible? No, because she hasn't done it. No, she's just peddling the same old shit, repackaged and in a really deceptive way. I'm getting fired up about this, as you can tell. So, as I'm recording this, Biden was elected a couple of weeks ago now. And when it was the days before the election, Anderson Cooper is a newsreader, I think on CNN, I think it's like a middle stream, you know, middle of the road kind of, they're not liberal, they're not conservative news channel. I might be wrong. Anyway, so Anderson Cooper said something about Trump, and he said that he used the O word, he was a fat turtle on its back flailing, but he used an O word. And liberals ate that shit up. Liberals fucking love fat shaming people. Haha, oh my God, so funny. Anderson Cooper said that Trump was fat. Oh my God, that's so edgy. Trump isn't hearing that you're laughing about him being a fat turtle and you sharing a meme about Trump being a fat turtle. The other people around you who you care about are hearing that. The fat people around are hearing that when people share that. There's this big problem where liberals have a blind spot, and I'm liberal, right? And I have loads of blind spots too, but this is really bad. And so the way that I see it is, it's like Trump versus Pence. So Mike Pence, the current Vice President of the United States, is openly bigoted, anti-LGBTQ, anti-abortion, denies systemic racism, etc., etc. He is like a traditional diet. He's open about it, right? He is like, you're a fat piece of shit, buy my product, I'll make you less of a piece of shit. I hate fat people, right? That's what Mike Pence is. So Trump says, this is a quote from him, I'm the least racist person anybody is going to meet. He says, I love women, I love poor people, I love Latinos, I love all of these marginalised people. And Trump supporters say, well, just because he acts badly towards these people, that doesn't matter because he says that he's not racist. He says that he loves them. And so that website is like Trump saying, I'm not racist, while being a massive fucking racist. So this website that I was just reading the copy from is just like that. That kind of, you're confused. You're gaslit. You're like, is it? And so people can have, people can say, Trump supporters can say, he's not racist. He says he's not racist. This website, I'm not a diet. And then the person who runs the website, I don't sell diet, I don't market diets on my website. When she fucking does. And so someone like me, it took a minute to sniff it out, right? And I am doing this stuff all the time. What about someone who is new to this journey? Are they going to be able to sniff that out? No, it's going to be very difficult, right? So the other thing that gets on my nerves is it's using fat positive anti-diet messaging against you. The first part of that copy could be on my website, couldn't it? And then You know, the problem, you hate your body. The solution, you learn to love your body. You learn about all of these systems that tell you that your body is not okay. And her website is, the problem, you hate your body and fail at diets. The problem is, do another diet, but give me your money because I want some of that $72 billion pie. You know what I'm saying? Ugh. So for me, I would prefer the out and out open bigotry. At least we know where we stand, right? At least we know. Everyone's been open and honest. I am a racist. I hate women. I'm conservative and I vote for Trump. I want to know that. But when someone and companies, they're doing this, they're saying, we're liberal, but we fucking hate fatties. That's not cool. Dieting and conflating health and weight are conservative in nature. These are conservative ideologies. Thinking fat bodies ought to shrink is not a liberal viewpoint. Being healthist and ableist and racist are things for conservative people, not for liberals. But people really struggle to let go of that stuff. Even when confronted with the fact that fatphobia stems from racism, that diet culture upholds white supremacy. People want to be good, but they just can't let go of white supremacist systems. And for this one person that I'm talking about, it's because white supremacy pays her wages. But she thinks she's doing good because she made a video about Black Lives Matter on her website, and she's questioning the other progressives, saying, what are you doing for Black lives? While profiting from white supremacy. But also I have empathy for her, because how hard would it be for her to say, so she said, I was once the problem, but I fixed myself, and now I'm the solution. How hard would it be for her to self-reflect and say, I thought I was once part of the problem and then fixed myself, but now I realise that I'm still just fucking part of the same exact problem, but even worse this time. That would be really hard to do, like to self-reflect and have that realisation. And she would have to remove like the weight loss stuff from her business. She might lose money because it's so much easier making money on the internet if you're selling weight loss than it is if you're selling anti-weight loss, like by 1,000,000,000%, right? She would have to help people because, you know, the whole thing is we're helping you be healthy and well. Health and wellness, you know, the polite liberal term for fatphobia. She would have to help people just become healthy and not lose weight. Like, her brain, that might be too much for her right now. I hope that gentle calling in makes her have a little think. But I don't know, you know, we all fuck up, right? So I fuck up all the time. And just because you have good intentions, so this person has good intentions, she wants to stop people of colour, she wants to stop black people getting fat so they don't get diseases. That whole fucking statement is so messed up on so many levels and so just misinformed, ill-informed. Oh, it's making me want to have angry thoughts. So she thinks she's doing good, right? She's in good intention. She's not like, ha ha ha, I'm going to benefit from my white skin and take all these, you know, this money and uphold problematic ideas. She's like, I'm going to help the world. And she says it on her website. I want to make the world a better place, right? So even if you have good intentions, you're still going to fuck up. But if you're committed to being a better person, then you have to examine how you're fucking up. And we're all fucking up. Like, we're all fucking up all the time. If you're trying to be a better person, you're going to be saying stupid stuff and doing stupid stuff, even if you don't mean to. I hope that we do want to grow, you know? Like, I think about 2006 Victoria on Facebook. If Facebook, was Facebook around then? Let's say, like, that's when it first came out. And you imagine yourself 20, how many years ago was that? It feels like that was 4 years ago, but it's not actually 4 years ago, like 14, 15 years ago. So you, that many years ago, if you were like me, you're probably a bit of a knob. You probably weren't as much as a knob as I was. But, you know, I would say I would believe and say, you know, things which were really problematic and inappropriate. And now I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, oh my gosh. And I think we've all evolved from 10, 20 years ago, depending how long you've been alive. Like, we all continue. But I say we all, that's not true. You know, a lot of people that you maybe went to school with, that version of you 15 years ago thought was amazing. Had the best times with them. But now, 15 years later, you've evolved. You've continued to try and be a good person. And you do no longer relate to that person. And so we can stay in this space right now, or the space we were 15 years ago. And then in 15 years' time now, we're going to look back at ourselves and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. And that's okay, because we're going to continue to grow. Or we can just stop, right? We can just stop. And then when someone challenges us and says, hey, you know, looks like you're committed to being anti-racist, but the work that you're doing is based in racism, bit awkward. And instead of saying, you know, fine, I'm not gonna argue with you, I'm just gonna leave the group. Taking a moment and thinking, how am I gonna react? How am I gonna react? And no one's perfect, right? If someone calls you out, it's normal to be like, no, you're wrong. I'm not racist. We're all racist. We're all bigoted in some ways, you know? We can't help it. That's like me saying everyone's fatphobic. You can't help but being fatphobic, because we live in a fatphobic society. It would be bizarre if you weren't. You know, there's always still that little bit left that's clinging on, no matter how much work you're doing. And so to presume that everyone else has racist beliefs, but you don't, because you've got a magical brain. That would be cool if you had a magical brain and you didn't absorb problematic beliefs. But, you know, we're all humans, right? Oh, feels like this episode's me like ranting on my soapbox, being like, don't be a dick. Oh, I'm so clever and this person's so dumb. I hope it didn't come across like that. I'm just really frustrated with people who claim to be progressive and they are not. And finally having a space where I can say, hey, by the way, not cool to be a fatphobe. And then seeing the stuff that you all have to deal with, right? Because I'm not on the internet looking at like websites, dieting websites. Not that this website you would necessarily know is a dieting website, but you know, I'm not seeking solutions to love my body. And so I'm not looking at these websites to feel better in my body. And so I'm not exposed to this stuff. And so when I see it, and I know it's out there, obviously, you know, because I see like the big companies doing it, and like Weight Watchers talking about love yourself, and I'm like, excuse me. So yeah, it just makes me mad that people who are more vulnerable in how they feel about themselves at this moment are being exploited in ways that are unethical in my viewpoint. And yeah, so it makes me mad. Makes me mad. But also, I'm not a perfect person. I know, it's a shock to you. It's a shock. It's a shock. But yeah, I'm not a perfect person either. But let's all just try to move forward and not look back in 15 years at where we are right now and be like, oh, I didn't grow at all from then. In fact, all of the bigoted beliefs that I still held then, I still hold on to now, and they're even more. You know? Let's just try and be better people, right? Okay. Thanks for hanging out with me for this ranting episode. This, I need to tell you this because it's on my mind. It's on my mind. I need to tell you. If you want to see that post about the rampant fatphobia and liberal spaces need to stop, then go to the show notes, fizfatty.com/058. Episode 58, and you'll see that. And if you have questions for the show, there's a little link in there to send questions to the show. And yeah, my voice is going, so I'm gonna go. Thanks for hanging out. You're the best. See you later. Come on.